Most of us have a clear image of what a school or a classroom looks like. There are desks, a board, maybe some computers, and plenty of eager young minds. However, how much do we know about what it's really like to go to school in countries such as the United States or India? Now, let's take a tour through the different education settings for children around the world. In most states from the United States, school children must be immunized against a range of diseases before starting school. These may include polio, tetanus, etc. Tuberculin screening may also be necessary. Evidence of the appropriate inoculations, including exact dates, is required when you apply to a school. So it seems like the USA protects their students, right? Now, let's take a look at schools and classrooms in India. Schools are supposed to be the templates of learning, but the average primary educational institutions in India is likely to be a dingy, dilapidated place without access to electricity, toilets, and with too few teachers. True, just having great schools infrastructure is not sufficient to improve learning outcomes, but it is certainly a necessary condition. The latest annual status of education report shows that learning outcomes are abysmal in Indian schools. The average class size or students per classroom in India across the primary levels of schooling is 42. States such as Bihar and Jharkhand are the largest, with an average of 78 and 67 students per classroom respectively. Bihar's secondary education facilities seem specially strained, with 97 students per class. Jharkhand has that issue in higher secondary education with 94 students per class. While in the United States, the typical public primary school classroom has 23.6 students average. This means that Indian schools have almost twice the students than the average primary school classroom in the United States. Now, let's take a look at the different school levels that each country has. The primary education in India is provided by both private and government schools, and it usually consists of students aged between 5 to 12 years. Most of the primary education provided by primary schools in India is imparted from class 1st to class 5th. The duration of study in this stage is 4 to 5 years. The middle stage of education, covering 3 to 4 years of academic study, is formed by 5th to 8th class, consisting of students aged between 12 to 14 years. The secondary stage of education, covering 2 to 3 years of academic study, starts with classes 8th to 10th, consisting of students aged between 14 and 16 years. Senior secondary education in India is only 2 years. These schools in India include classes 11th to 12th, consisting of students aged between 16 and 18 years. In the United States, the first years of compulsory schooling are called elementary or primary school, which is for children from 5 or 6 years old to 11 years old. Secondary education is for children aged 12 to 18. Secondary schools generally take place in a high school, which is often divided into junior and senior high. Junior high is for those aged 12 to 14, and senior high for students aged 15 to 18.